welcome back to the Crazy Courage podcast. We are here with Todd Hamstra. Todd Hamstra is the proud owner of the Freshco in Bell's Corners. Now, Todd is the first franchisee I've had on the podcast, so it'll be really interesting to get his take on what it's like to be a franchisee. Todd, tell me how it is. Tell me what it is you do and how that all works.
Well, first of all, Freshco is a grocery store. It's a 32,000 square foot store in Bell's Corners.
Yeah.
Bell's Corners is located at the west end of Ottawa, about basically 3 minutes from Bayshore Shopping Mall. It's a little strip there with kind of many good restaurants and there's Wesley Clover Horse Park. They have a couple breweries, so Kitchissippi Brewery and Conspiracy Theory.
It's like its own little town, right?
It's like its own little village, and that's what we like to call it.
Yeah.
We call it the village in the green belt because it's surrounded by the green belt, where there's some nice riding trails actually to
Nice.
to ride bikes, to jog or whatever, and it's kind of like that quaint little. It's almost like an island feeling, you know.
Yeah.
And so my store is basically an old price chopper before me, and then
I remember
that
those.
old nursery back in the day. What was that called? Anyway, and then so I have the Fresco right in a plaza on Robertson Road, kind of beside the McDonald's and across the street from the Canadian Tire.
Right.
So I got into the business basically. This will be my 7th year of owning the Fresco, and I come from a huge background in that area too, because I started my career actually, Nick, in Bell's Corners when I moved from Kingston to Ottawa with my parents.
Right.
I was planning on being a cop. So I was, so I was 18 years old after high school, moved up. My parents bought a little butchery in Richmond, Ontario. And so I went hitchhiking into Bell's Corners one day, and I saw a grocery store, and it was you're independent. So what I did was I went in there and I said, listen, I need a job, you know? So they hired me, and that was in 1992.
Wow.
And they hired me to push buggies, right?
Yeah.
So shopping carts. Back in the day when they had packers at each cast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the end of each cast had packers, and they used to hire all these kids from the farm, they called it in Bell's Corners, and it was a challenged farm, kind of, looking after our handicapped kids, and they used to hire them at Robinson's Independent, and it was in the plaza at the other end of the Bell's Corners. So I started there pushing carts. I worked my way up the ladder. Then we were bought out. The Independent was bought out by National Grocers, Loblaws, and I moved over. So I've been in Bell's Corners since I was 18, moving back and forth. But but it's kind of funny how it comes full circle, and I'm back in Bell's Corners, years later, right?
That's funny.
So
That's funny.
I even have customers come in and remember me from the days when I used to party in Bell's Corners.
Wow, yeah, you must have left your mark.
So
Awesome.
it's like, you own a store, you were awesome, So it's kind of like one of those feel good. It was kind of like one of those places I should be,
Yeah.
So fast forward to now, I'm I'm all about the community, and I was actually a director for 2 years on the BIA and the BIA's business improvement area for Bell's Corners.
Nice.
And I did a lot. Um, I'm kind of crazy, to be honest, to
Okay.
to do my store and to do the BIA gig.
Spread yourself a little thin.
Well, it was just busy time, but
Okay.
but also rewarding time,
Okay.
because I looked at it as, it's not a paid job, but at the end of the day, I looked at it as opportunity to make and put Bell's Corners on the map type thing, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of a rundown, just not a very. You go through Bell's Corners, you blink, and it's like for lease, for lease. When I
Yeah.
took it over, well, now it's a thriving. I got banners up on the poles. I got
Yeah.
flowers in the summer down the strip. I got brand new "Welcome to Bell's Corners" signs. I
Yeah.
run a concert in the summer in my parking lot at
Right. Right.
Freshco, we usually have 6 bands,
Nice.
bouncy castles for kids, hot dogs, hamburgers. We have, the mobile unit from the library. We have a pirate ship. We have,
Nice.
20 vendors. So it's a big thing, and I sponsor it through Fresco. But these are things that you do for the community, and so when I applied, or actually, how do I even start this out?
How does that
So
work? Yeah.
there was there was a time when a bunch of us got let go from the Loblaws world.
Okay.
They kind of thin the beef, or cut the beef,
Right.
or thin the herd, or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, so companies always do that,
Yeah.
but at
Sure.
the end of the day, a lot of us, some of the guys I used to work for, and this is why you never burn a bridge. Um,
Yeah.
you you go, and this guy called me up, and he was an old boss of mine that they hired on from Loblaw's district manager, and he called me up. He says, Todd, what are you doing? I said, well, nothing. I'm on a severance. I'm doing nothing.
Nice.
I go and take my daughter to school. I come home and I watch Ellen, I I don't know. I cook supper and I go pick my daughter up, or cook lunch and I go pick my daughter up. Like, it's the
Nice.
greatest life ever.
Yeah. No
Like,
complaints there, right? Yeah.
it snows. You look out the window, you see people scraping the window, and you go, I don't want to be that person
Yeah.
anymore.
And smile and wave to them, right? Yeah.
Smile and wave, yeah. But
Yeah.
anyways, so I applied to government, to be a pen guard, and all that stuff, and I actually had some interviews going on, and he asked me to go meet him in Canada, so I went, and it was just good to go meet him, kind of like this kind of thing,
Yeah.
just
Sure.
shoot the breeze.
Yeah.
He says, that time when I left Loblaws, I had 24 years in several positions. My last being a store manager position, and so yeah, and he said, like, if I was to get you into Freshco, would you be interested? I said, "Ugh, I don't know, man. When you do something for so long, you kind of
Yeah.
want to do
You got a
something
little brain fire
different,
too, right?
But he intrigued me with a couple things. He intrigued me with, the opportunity to be my own boss,
Yeah.
the opportunity to own, like, not too many people can say they own a grocery store,
No, true. Yeah.
and also, it's one of my strengths is people. So
Yeah.
I always built good teams. So um, I like that thing, and I like the public, and it was in Bell's Corners, my old
Little
stopping
stomping
ground.
grounds. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I thought about it long and hard, and I said, okay, where do I sign? Kind of like a hockey player,
Yeah.
uh, going to his favorite team, and
Yeah.
and so yeah, I had to go on the road about 4 months with Freshco, just before the guy retired at Bell's Corners.
Was it? It
Anyway,
was. It was a Freshco in Bell's Corners, right?
I was a Price Chopper before,
Was it Price
but
Chopper?
so what happened is they went from Price Chopper to Fresco.
Okay.
basically the guy he started No Frills for the
Yeah.
Loblaws family, the Weston family.
Okay.
He got let go too, so Sobeys hired him to rebrand the Price Chopper.
Oh, I see. And that's the
Yeah.
guy you knew.
So 10 years ago now, he
Okay.
started with one store, and now there's 145 stores.
Okay. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I come in when there was about I think they were opening, I think their 75th store
Okay.
when I started. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
Like, how did that? So,
yeah.
can you explain the process? So, how did that go? Like, you put in an application, you just show up to, hi, I'm Todd. Can I have a store? Like, how your winning smile? How
No,
did that process go?
no, so I get asked this a lot because
Yeah.
as people, especially foreign people, right? Like
Yeah.
we're definitely in the ethnic market, and everybody at least once a week goes, how do I buy one, right? And you don't. Uh, so what's Sobeys is our parent company. So
Yeah.
what they want in a franchisee, it's not money they want. It's more experience they want.
Yeah.
Because anybody can buy something and then fail because they don't understand the business.
Right.
But we get in with a franchise fee and we get in with our experience, right? So, which is a smart way of doing it because, you know, we know the business. I've been in the business so long that I can do it with my eyes closed, right? So, at the end of the day, it's probably wise for them to do that. It's getting harder for them to do that now because there's not as many experienced people anymore. Their experience went from like guys like me with coming in with 23 years. Now they got two, you know?
Really? Now, is that a lot of people retire? Like, where did all the
Yeah.
experience go? They have
Yeah,
to
it's
buy
just
themselves?
retirement. It's kind of became a young man's game too because um like it's a lot of work, right? Like
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
don't have a smooth running ship, you could spend 15 hours a day there, you know?
Now, because now, to be fair, you had to turn around that chip when you took it over, if I recall, right?
Yeah. So
Like, it
and
wasn't
that's
just
I was
that you showed
slowly
up and
getting to that,
everyone
but
was.
But when I took it over, the guy before me, he was really old. Like he was 60, I would say 68.
Okay.
And he kind of just the last 5 years of running it, kind of just let it go. And
Okay.
it was like it was in bad shape. Just rough crowd working there to nobody there was no direction, there was no accountability, there was no pride. Like nobody even wanted to be there. And
Right.
when you go into that situation, I remember going in the first day and going, I don't know if I should walk out of here
Really? That
or
bad? Wow.
yeah, it was pretty bad, man.
Did
And
you have any idea? Like, did they prep you and say, "Hey, listen, like, take
yeah,
over the store. It's gonna be a little bit
yeah,
rough."
they
Yeah.
they said there's a reason why kind of this guy's gone, and
Okay.
at the end of the day, we need somebody to turn it around,
Yeah.
and I'm up double what it was when I took over.
Nice. Wow.
So
Nice.
without giving numbers away, but
Great.
at the end of the day, I had double digit growth my 5 years there so far.
Nice.
So um it wasn't hard actually the first little while because it's that old saying, you put cans on the shelf, you make money, right?
Right.
So it was simple. It was
Okay.
get the what was the hard part was getting the people back that gave up on the store.
Okay. Okay.
So in the area plus other, and I've always been a word of mouth guy,
Yeah.
and like people talk and they say, "Oh my God, like have you tried?" Bell's Corners, that guy's great, and the staff are great, and that's where I wanted to get it to, which I am now. If you look at my reviews online or whatever, it's like, you know, there's some bad ones, but you always get those
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. You
type
can't
right
please everyone.
guys. But
No.
but
Yeah.
but I tell you, like, um, I get a lot of people coming from Maryville. I get a lot of people
Really.
coming from Barhaven, Richmond, Canada, Stittsville,
Wow.
Constance Bay. So I draw from all over, and and like I told my bosses were in yesterday, and I said, here I'm in an area where the government, we talked earlier about the government. There's two buildings there that are empty because they're working from home, and
Right.
they don't live in Bell's Corners, man.
No.
So
No. No.
there's
No. They're
there's
all over.
zero growth or zero building around there too,
Yeah.
and to run like I'm up 8%. So
Wow.
so that's what I told them yesterday, and they still don't get it. But at the end of the day, I know it's uh, it's a tough gig if you're not outgoing and personable
Yeah.
and
Great.
build your business through people. And
Mm-hmm.
the number one rule I have is, I've always said it: look after your staff, look after your customers, and the rest will fall into place.
Right.
And and
Right.
that's my
Yeah.
my motto. And I you know me, I'm just an easygoing guy,
Yeah.
and I can talk to anybody. But at the end of the day, sometimes you get sick of talking, to be honest. it's like you know what, like, COVID was really tough, man.
Yeah.
COVID was the toughest time. I've People just turned into wild animals. Like, it was like,
Yours. Yeah.
standing in lines. Remember lineups,
Wow.
like like trying to queue people through, and fights in the aisles, and
Really?
oh
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Like, you don't know what it's like. I always said, um, one way to go through life, if you ever have kids, let them be a cashier on the front of a grocery store, bringing groceries through, and they will
You
learn
learn.
real fast the roller coaster in life of people.
Well,
And
yeah. I
it,
figure
it,
fast
it
food is the same thing, you know?
yeah, yeah, it's crazy, man. But anyway, to go back, so I done it now 7 years. I've increased it. I don't know if I think I've tapped out the most of it for now, unless the government does come back there. And D, like, you know, they took the government going home, took 10,000 people out of my area at
Wow.
lunchtime. My
That's
lunch
huge.
business went from like this stopping into this.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
That's huge. That's
it is.
10,000
10,000
people.
people is huge,
Yeah.
man. And they'd all stop in and grab like the cubicles across the street. That building had 2,800 people in it.
Okay.
It's like 6 stories, 5 stories, or whatever it is. And they're all like cubicles. It's CRA, right? So uh they all come over, grab some bop and chips and sandwich meat. Actually, my deli meat section and stuff just tanked. Like,
Really?
my chips and nibs and Twizzlers and all that crazy stuff that I love to eat, but I shouldn't eat.
Yeah, yeah, we all do.
It, it's it's like one of those things that, oh my God, like, it just died, man. But I still, things increase
Okay. So that's pretty
because,
impressive. You still see an increase, even
yeah,
though that's
yeah, yeah.
there's been a
Well,
shift, clearly.
I'm gonna say this: like, there's too many stores out there today, and because I'm a franchisee and I take my heart into the business, and I love my staff, and I look after my staff. I still have 15 people working for me that have been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Well,
so I'm proud about that, because most stores have turned over 100%.
sure.
So to still have 15 people on my payroll, that have been with me, 7 years. Well, I like that, and then customers get used to these people too, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I always have staff in my store, but like honestly, I can ask you a question or anybody a question and
Yeah.
go, do you know the person who runs your nearest uh, Loblaws?
Right. No idea.
Do you know
No
the
idea.
Canadian Tire owner?
Not.
You don't like
No
how
idea.
many people the days of the connectivity between you and the customer are gone. But
Lost.
I've
Yeah.
always maintained people come in and they go, we come here because of you.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's great.
powerful stuff. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what drove me to take the franchise role. Not necessarily, um, you know, selling beans or selling, it's more the ability to take something and the problem today with franchisees today
Yeah.
is they think, I get a franchise, I gotta go golfing in the afternoons every day.
Right. So
I got
they just want to let it run itself, not be just cash a paycheck, right?
exactly, and they
Yeah.
don't put the time. The most important thing to do is put the time in to your community,
Right.
to your staff, so that eventually, if you take time off, you're golden. Everything's set up. The dots are connected, right?
Yeah. You come back, everything's still good, right?
And everything, that's the way it goes, right? And I've always said that. And I don't even want to. It's like Colonel Sanders. I never give out my recipe, but
Right.
but it's been successful for me, and like I remember when I was going to high school, Nick, and um a math teacher said to me, "You're going to be nothing in life, bud," because
Right.
having fun with my buddies in class, and
Yeah.
he says
You don't want to be in math. Yeah.
you're gonna be nothing in life, bud. And now I run a $17.5 million a year store, so
It's
you
terrible
know
when teachers say that. Terrible.
Yeah.
You can't oppress
So
dreams,
for all you kids out there, I'm going to sound like Don Cherry here. For all you kids out there, like don't ever. There's two things I'm going to tell people, and if they're watching and they're kids or whatever, two things. Two things. One, you can be whoever you want to be, and when you get it into your mind that you can do something, don't let anybody like that teacher tell you um you're no good or whatever in life. And even if your parents say you're going to be nothing because you're a little bit lazy in grade 9, you sleep in here and there, you
Yeah.
can turn that around. I
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
and
School's
the
not for everyone.
and
True.
school's not for everybody. And two, don't ever let somebody say hard work won't get you somewhere,
Hard work will
because
get
it
you
does.
everywhere. Yeah,
And,
for
and,
sure.
and I worked my way up from, I told you, I pushed carts at 18.
Yeah.
But I always had work ethic. And I always looked at the manager in whoever I worked for, whether I liked them or not. I always respected them. If they said clean the toilet with a toothbrush, Toddy Boy was cleaning the toilet with a toothbrush, because I wanted to get to a point, and
Yeah.
at 30 years old, so 18 to 30, after opening stores, closing stores, you know, uh, just all the stuff I did along the way, going on the road for a bit to refurbish stores, to running night crews, to working overnight, to, all the stuff, to summing from the beginning to work. I mean, thumbing like hitchhike.
Oh,
How many
okay. Okay.
kids would hitchhike to get to work?
Wow. Yeah, you can't do that these days. No,
Exactly, right?
no, no.
So I So to make a long story short, I say, you know, I make a comfortable living doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and make sometimes more money than my friend.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I'm in business. I I kind of made it my way, and that's just all through sweat, tears, and everything, right?
Right. Right.
Divorce,
Yeah. Good.
but
Yeah. All that
you
fun
know,
stuff. Right.
like it's not easy. Like
No.
I got divorced because I worked a lot, and yeah, I
Enough to
kind of
balance that.
wish it didn't happen, but at the end of the day, I had a house, I had a mortgage, I had, and I wanted to get further ahead,
Yeah.
and then and then they let us all go, so that was kind of like, why did I do all that? But another thing I'm gonna tell people is you always fall back on your feet,
Sure.
and by that, like when I got let go, I was like, oh my God, okay, I almost got 2 years off, but then what am I gonna do? You
Right.
know? And I fell on my
Were you
feet
worried?
again.
Like, were
Eh?
you during that when you got laid off? Were you worried?
Oh, friggin' I was
Yeah.
worried. I had a mortgage, man.
Right.
I had and I was like, I had a young baby. I had my daughter Abby, and I was like, oh man, what the hell am I gonna do? I
That's
can't
scary.
work at Mac. You
Right.
know,
Right.
like I was the store manager, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
uh, but man, oh man, uh,
But it's like you said, you work hard. Certain people notice, they remember you for that, and then clearly someone you met along the way, made a point of remembering who do we need in this organization? Oh yeah, we should go back and see that Todd guy who's always working so hard, scrubbing
yeah.
toilets with a toothbrush.
And
He's
yeah,
the right.
it's more about personality too.
Of course.
Like they look at everything when they wanna. th- you know, they don't want a guy that doesn't say boo to anybody, because you're not going to get out in the community and do a bunch of things if you don't talk. So,
Right.
so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what? You need a little bit of everything, and that's what they saw in me, and
Yeah.
that's what intrigued them about me, and they probably go, "Oh my God, why did we take that guy now?" But anyway, at
Hey.
the end of the day, it was the best. It was Nick. It was the best decision I made,
Yeah.
and
Nice.
although it is still tough, and
Of
with
course.
theft being as high as it is right now,
Yeah.
and still having to grab the odd thief and battle them a bit, to trying to get the small margins we're making now, and the listening to the public about the high cost of food, which I
Yeah.
have no control over.
Yeah, so okay, yeah, let's talk about that for a second. The
Yep,
high cost of
yep,
food, right? That affects everyone, and believe me, everyone and I know
yep,
has seen such a price hike in everything. Like, it's not just food, right? It's gas.
yeah,
It's if you go out to eat,
everything.
anything you go to buy, it is way more expensive now for sure. So food being kind of one of the most important things. What do you say when people are like, "Oh, the grocery store is just hiking prices to make record profits"? What do you say to that?
Okay, so this is my take on that.
Yeah, what's your take?
Okay, from an owner's perspective.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna say this. When I was I'm gonna go back to when I was stocking shelves at 19 years old at Independent in Bell's Corners.
yeah,
I remember Chef Boyardee in the can, okay? Beefaroni in the can was 89 cents. It'd go on for 79 cents.
okay,
Okay? We currently, Chef Boyardee in the can is $1.89 at my
wow,
store. So it's
okay,
not like it's a like people say there's a huge increase.
yeah,
Bread was 99 cents for white loaf.
yeah,
We're 2.49 now.
okay, yeah, which is
So it's like back then when I when I was working there, I
Yeah.
made $6.85 an hour. Kids are making $16.50 an hour now.
Right.
So when I say people, when they talk about food, you got to talk about specifics like
Right.
meat. Meat has went up a lot,
Produce.
right?
Right.
Pro, produce, but has it? Back in the day, it was 99 cents for head lettuce,
Yeah.
$1.29 at regular price, ninety nine
Okay.
cents on special back then, and we're $2.49 now.
Right.
But what I tell people is when you go to my competitors,
Yeah.
you can save money by coming to a guy like Freshco that's a discounter, because there's only 10 people in the food world that supply all the food for Canada.
Right. So it's all the same
So
food.
so
Right.
when you look at the umbrellas for Pepsi and Coke
Yeah.
and they're all under these umbrellas. Procter Gamble, there's only 10 of them in Canada that supply everything. So they all regulate the prices. And as things for their prices, let's just say crackers. So you get vegetable crackers. What
Right.
is the price to bring the spices over to make those vegetable crackers? And these
Right.
spices all come from like India and then all this area,
Yeah.
right? Well, when I started 5 years ago, it was $2,800 to ship a container from India to Canada.
Okay.
Now it's 28,000.
Right. So it's a supply chain. Is that
It's the supply chain is driving the dollars
and
and
we've
the
seen that kind of disruption since COVID. I think that was kind of the catalyst for the supply
yeah
chains having problems.
yeah
Right.
yeah COVID was the thing that they said, okay, maybe we can. And what happened over the years, I'm going to bring you back to what happened over the years.
Sure.
um if you remember correctly, you could go to Shoppers Drug Mart or something, and you'd always see 12 packs of Coke on for like $2.99 or $2.88 or
Sure.
$3.33. You know, and that was a normal in the summer. A $4.99 24 of Coke. Well, now it's $11.99. But in all honesty, that that to make now is probably about $3.99 a case.
Okay.
And
So
and
so
so they should be charging at least $6.99 a case.
yeah.
And now it's $11.49, I think we charge for a case. But what I'm saying is the competition drove as more competition come, it kind of drove the prices down because everybody was competing against each other.
For sure.
That they kind of went, okay, he's 333, we're gonna go 299,
Yeah.
and our steady price is gonna be 349. And so as this goes on, and I'm gonna tell you, it didn't help back in the day when Walmart come into the play too,
Right.
because
Right.
they were buying in massive quantities to bring the prices down where everybody else had to go, well, if we don't bring our prices down,
Yeah.
we're gonna go bankrupt.
Right.
Nobody will shop us. So it kind of started way before COVID. It was more when the domination started with the Walmart of the world
Okay.
and bringing the U.S. chains in is when things started going south. Good for the consumer, 100% good for the consumer,
Yeah.
but for the businessman, the margins just sank, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Right.
and that's the problem, right? Like, so COVID was the time to basically reset, as I would say, for these companies, and to say, listen, this is our time to kind of, get back to the mark that we should be kind of at when people are making 100 grand a year or 60 or 80 grand a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Government type workers. Um, but that really affects, and that's when it kind of drove that wedge,
Okay.
and people started not, you know, because there's a lot of people that just work for me in a minimum wage job or
Right.
Timmy's or those are the people that, suffer. And I'm going to say this too. Um, Back in the day too, people didn't have $1 million homes either.
No, no, those house prices, the cost of living, the cost of housing has just gone through the roof.
Well,
Right?
here's what I say about that is kind of people want everything. So they want the two car, the Land Rover, and the $1 million home. They blame groceries, but it's not really groceries. It's lifestyle that
Oh yeah, sure, fair.
kind of got them to where they are.
Yeah,
You know what? I can't afford life, but I want the two cars. I want the boat, and I want the trailer outside to go camping,
yeah,
and I want the never payment plans, and this and that. But then, oh my God, I can't afford groceries anymore. No, that's the way it is, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's not because Chef Boyardee went up $1
yeah.
and bread went up $1.50. Like it's more, and I'm a realist, so I talk like that, but it's more people's lifestyles. Like everybody
Sure.
enjoys, you
Yeah.
know, everybody on my street, they're all government workers, and I'm in like the smallest house, but they're all government people, and their houses are all like approaching $1 million, and you're like, okay, so you're the one that comes in my store and complains that things went up 20 cents,
Yeah,
25 cents, right?
right. Yeah, yeah.
So so you're never gonna win that. You're never gonna win that battle with people
No,
because
no. People will
they
get
have,
offended no matter what.
they'll never complain about beer prices or wine prices. They'll
Right?
always find money for that. But
Yes.
when they have to scrimp and save on, you know, I bet you from when I started, um, when I was working night crew till now, I bet you on a family grocery bill, I bet you there's about $50 difference.
Right. So,
Well,
in how
they
many
put
years we're
they
talking?
put that through the sea in the weekend.
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and
So
that's the thing. Everyone's happy to pay for all the fun stuff that they want to do, but when it
and
comes
never
to,
and never bitch about it.
right? Yeah,
They'll
yeah,
never say, "Oh my God, my theater cost me so much money to run."
yeah.
They'll never say that.
No,
Oh, my daughter shouldn't go to horses, and it cost me 500 a month.
right?
They'll never say that. But oh my God, I paid 50 cents more for the lettuce. It's crazy. The grocery stores,
Right? You gotta look
that's
at your cost.
tough.
You gotta look at where your money's going, right? That's the and like as I was telling my kids, like they're growing up in a much different world than you and I did, right? Like back
Oh,
in you and I grew up, you didn't have all these ways to spend your money. You didn't have cell phone, you didn't have all this data, you didn't have Netflix, you didn't have like crazy cable packages, you didn't have all the bills. Like it was simple.
the most expensive thing, my parents bought me a bicycle,
Yeah,
and I played hockey. And besides that, even hockey, Nick, has went to a crazy level too. Like
yeah.
I have friends that are driving one to play one game in Oslo from Kingston.
Wow.
And they'll do it on like a Wednesday night. They'll play, the Oslo Junior Generals or something.
Okay.
And they'll play the game and come all the way back. And I have another buddy that went to like Niagara Falls for a tournament, and
Yeah.
it was 3 day tournament, and they had to stay. My buddy told me it was like almost $1,500 by the time they got the tournament over that he
Yeah.
spent.
It's insane. And I mean, my brother, his son plays competitive soccer.
So he
And
knows.
yeah, but they pay like the coach is paid on a salary. It's not like you're, it's not one of the dads or whatever coaching. Like this is a coach that they pay a
Hmm.
very generous salary. So, you got to
Yeah.
pay for that. Plus all the tournaments and all the other stuff.
Nobody got paid. Nobody got paid in our day,
No, they didn't. No, no. It was all just volunteer dads doing it, just to be there with their kids or whatever.
Yeah, and you know, uh, I remember the guy used to lend my dad a van
Yeah.
back in the day, for hockey to go to, Perth to play like a tournament, and he gave him the van so the team could be all together kind of in the van.
Nice.
And
Nice.
and we'd take the van to Perth, play a couple games, and then take the van back, and it had dealer plates on it, like it was like,
Nice.
like
That's
everybody
great.
chipped in for every, just so the kids could have a good old time. I
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember going to Godfrey to play in a tournament, and I stayed at the house, like kind of like a billet type system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
aga with the Godfrey parents. I didn't even know who they were, but they set it up because for the out of town teams, so they didn't have to drive back and forth.
Right.
And who who would do that today?
No,
Like,
now you're just expected to, you drive down, you go down with your parents or whatever, you stay in a hotel and there's all those
yeah,
added costs. Like there's so many added costs now. Like that's the
yeah.
thing. It's so
And,
different.
and
Yeah.
and hey, you know what? You and me, bud. I didn't have a $400 stick. I had
Oh
a
no,
tight.
no, God,
I
no.
had a Titan white and red
Yeah.
Gretzky, and I thought I was the cat. It was the cat's ass, And
It
and
was, yeah.
and I'll tell you what, man. Like, this is kind of funny too. Like, the day my parents, I opened up that gift and I saw Cooperalls.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And I
Cooper,
had the
I remember
Cooperall. I
those,
thought, oh my god, wow, wow.
right?
And I only got the one gift. I got the girdle and the pants, but that was fine for me. Like,
Yeah.
I won the lottery. And it's because we had a big family, and my parents paid. They were paying. I think back then, but uh, like, you look at salaries, but they were paying. My dad at that time was paying 19% interest on a house they owned.
Wow, yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
It's
So
crazy.
so yeah. I don't totally bite the chocolate bar everybody's eating. I really don't. But because I'm a realist in that sense, that you know I am just as bad as everybody else, and I like my wings, and I like my food, and I like to go out, and I sometimes I don't like to cook, and I do. You're right. I treat my daughter way friggin' better than I ever got.
Right?
But I love my childhood, man. I loved it. I
Yeah.
I can honestly say what there was more of a connection with people back
Yo, yeah.
then. Like, you
Yeah.
remember stupid signs in the windows, like, come here if you get touched by somebody or whatever, whatever
Oh
that,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, neighborhood
Neighborhood
watch
watch.
or
Yeah,
whatever, right?
yeah,
And everybody knew everybody in the small town I was
yeah,
at, and
yeah,
like, you could go. I would be 10 miles away on my BMX bike, and I was 10 years old. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like, it
Just
was a
biking all over.
diff.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a different time, bud.
It really was. It really, really was.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and I'm not. I would say it's safer time too, but you know what? There was still stuff out there. You could still get hit by a car and stuff.
Sure.
But I just think, from a business perspective, I tell you, you don't even want to get into me about you know trying to find people to work, and kids
Yeah.
today, the
Work
work
ethic.
ethic,
Yeah, yeah,
like, it through COVID. It's better now. Like, I'm getting lots of resumes now, but I tell you what, if
yeah,
it wasn't for my people from India,
yeah,
like, coming over here, and I mean, like, I just hired one last week, and they've only been here 3 weeks, and these are kids going to Algonquin College, and they're bringing them over left, right, and center, and they all know to come see Todd. But the thing is, without them, I don't know what I'd do, and
Right.
that's pretty sad to say in Canada.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. The same. It's been like that all over. Certainly hospitality took a hit. I know, like, I work in insurance. Same
Yep.
thing. We had a problem for a while. I mean, I can't compare it to like retail or
Mm.
hospitality, but our industry, yeah, it was tough. I mean, now, like, it's like you're saying, now things are turning around, and more resumes are coming in. We're able to hire
Yeah, but the
decent amount of
difference
people.
is,
But
Nick, you know, any of those jobs, they're not 16.50 an hour, right?
no,
So,
no, it's different. Yeah,
so what, and 20 hours, like how do you survive? You're taking the bottom of the barrel feeders, right?
sure,
And
sure.
and uh, and I'm not saying some of these people, they just either had early families or didn't do well in school or there's lots of reasons why
Lots of course. Yeah, for sure.
they're in a minimum wage job. And I'll tell you something though, like a lot of my people are very street smart, good, wholesome, people, and they live and breathe Todd Hamstra
Nice.
because of the way I treat them,
Right.
and at
It's
the end of
important.
the day, you have to treat these people this way, because you're everything to them. Like I have people crying if if I cut them back hours because you know we're in a slow period like January,
Sure.
man, like they rely on those 30 hours to get by, and with their subsidies or whatever,
Yeah.
that like I have people come and just and I'm the boss that uh Todd, I can't afford groceries. So I have a rule that you know before you steal, come see me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it keeps that open communication and trust and that
For
whole
sure.
thing. And the hardest part was I did let a girl go that I trusted, and I actually just thought she was the best person ever, but she's
Yeah.
come into hard times, and she felt she felt bad about asking me again because she's asked me so many times and I've come through for her, that she didn't. I guess maybe pride or whatever took over, but she was sneaking stuff out pretty well
Uh,
every shift. So I have no choice but to
yeah.
let her go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what? I didn't charge her. I didn't. There's things you can do. I just
Sure.
said, listen, you know what? I won't even give you a bad rap if somebody calls for a reference. You know what I mean? I said, they sat there and cried and said they were sorry and this and that. And you know what? Sometimes you just have to go, okay, you know,
Right.
and it kind of breaks my heart sometimes now that people are struggling and my staff's struggling,
Yeah.
and I do a lot to help them out because you and I are kind of fortunate.
Sure.
I'm not saying fortunate's probably not the word. You know, we worked hard to get to where we are, and this
Well,
is
we're in a
why.
good place, right?
Well, yeah, and I like to talk about working hard because like you can't get there with sitting on a couch playing video games.
No.
So,
No.
right? So you gotta tell your kids this because
Yeah.
if you don't tell your kids that, I will tell them when they become my employees, and they're not gonna like it.
No, no, yeah. I mean, it's what I tell my kids. It's all about effort. You want to get anywhere in life, you want to get anything out of life, it's effort. You get out, you get out of it what you put in.
Well, yeah, and I just told my daughter, yeah, my daughter wants to come make money, and the other day I was like, Abby, you know what? I'll hire you. Not a problem. Dad'll hire you. But when you're at work, I'm not dad.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
different guy. I'm the owner. You're my worker. And that's it. If you want to make money, you want to make your 16.50 an hour, you're going to work. You're going to
You gotta earn
do
it.
what I
Yeah.
say, and you got to earn it. It's
Yeah.
as simple. I said you don't have a free ride because your dad owns a store. You know what I mean?
Nice. Nice.
Uh, it ain't. That's not going to help you, and it's not going to help me.
No, that's the
So,
thing. It doesn't teach her anything, right?
well, yeah, and
Yeah.
then so the other day I said, "So you're going to go to work?" And this was yesterday. I said, "So are you going to go to work with me tomorrow?" No, Dad. But why not? She said. She goes, "Because I'm afraid to work for you."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And I said, "Okay." I said, "But you're not going to make money."
Yeah.
She says, "Well," I said, "And Abby, if you think going to McDonald's to work is going to be any better, it's not." So I said, "Well, she goes, "I'm scared now to go to the work floor." And I got a funny story I'm going to tell as an owner. I thought it was
Go
great.
for it. Nice.
Okay, so in the summer, last summer, I hired a kid. And I mean a kid, he's 24. So I don't know if that's a kid anymore or
Yep.
whatever. But anyways, he come to me, he says, "Listen," he filled it, the resume. He talked to me, he handed me the resume, and he says, "I want to work in the grocery department and work for you." I said, "No, okay." So I gave him to my grocery manager. I said, "Here's a guy for you." "Okay, I'll hire him." And he worked away. He was there 2.5 months. Two
Yeah.
and a half months.
2.5 months. Okay.
2.5 months. I go. It was probably it's probably about second week in August.
Okay.
I'm out watering the plants outside, and I kind of like doing some things, and so watering's kind of my thing because you can lose a lot of money out there and this and that. So every
Yeah.
morning I would spend 2 or 3 hours plucking weeds and watering and making the plants look good to buy.
Nice.
So this kid, I see him come in when I started watering at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, about 10 o'clock he comes back out, and he's wearing a t-shirt, and he's carrying his uniform and his badge
Look right.
and his hat that I gave him, Freshco hat.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me and he says, "Todd, yeah, how are you?" "Good." I said, "What's the matter?" I said, "You're working till 2 today." He goes, "No, I gotta go home." "So, you're not feeling good?" "No, I got some bad news." I'm like, "Oh no." So what's up? He goes, "Yeah, I just want to say, thanks for the job. I gotta quit, and I won't be working here on anymore. And this is my hat, my uniform, and my badge."
Okay.
And I'm like, well, I take things personal. I'm like, okay, so I like to learn from whatever, right? So I'm like, "Listen, I think his name is Brad. Brad," I said, "Brad, so what is the issue? What's the problem? What made you come up to me and quit? Did you find another job or did we do something wrong?" "Oh no, Todd. It's been the best job ever." He says, "Actually," he says, "I loved working here, and the people you got are awesome to, working there." He's like, I said, then what's the issue?" He goes, "Working's not for me."
Work. And it's not for me. What do you do
I
with that?
said, "Working's not for me either, but I have to, you know. I got bills to pay."
Yeah.
So anyways, I kind of thought
Wow.
that was funny. Like he says, "No, I kind of like my game, and I kind of like I'm gonna try doing something in I don't even know what it's called, coding or
Okay.
whatever field, right?" And, he goes, "But working for a living's not for me."
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. I mean, he's honest at least.
No, he was good that way. Yeah. And you know, and like I don't care what they do, but at the end of the day, it wasn't. You know, I would be more hurt if he said, "Listen, you know, you're an idiot, and your grocery manager just yelled at me, and this and that and whatever. I hate doing what you know." But no, it was all positive stuff. And just when he come out with that, I
That's
just
awesome.
looked
I
at
love
him
it. I
and
love
I
it.
just grabbed his uniform and said, "Hey, bud, working's not for me either." But and all I could do was laugh. You know, and then he went on about his way,
Yeah,
and
all right. Yeah. Back to his parents' basement or whatever, I guess. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
like imagine, and I would like to be a fly on the wall at his parents' house. Here,
Yeah.
oh no, I got fired,
Yeah. Yeah.
or no, it wasn't working out for
Yeah.
me. You know,
Son.
not oh, Dad, I told him working's not for me.
Yeah. 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 Must
You
have. That's how
know,
you know who has bills to pay and who doesn't, right?
yeah, exactly, and that goes with our kids too, right? Like, you know, yeah. Hey man, you just like yourself. It's you know, they think nothing of throwing stuff in the dryer in the morning, and you know, one thing in the dryer, or
Yeah, you're right.
using a half a roll of toilet paper to wipe the bum. You know, like it's like never ending.
No idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
like my worst thing, and this is funny. I like this one. My daughter saw have a grocery store. You know, I bring home the pop. You know,
Yeah.
and I bring home the food. And
Good.
but I always my daughter. You know, she liked water, and she liked. So I bring. I don't know. Last week I brought home uh, a case of water and 3 12 packs of Diet Ginger Ale, a Diet Dr Pepper, and a Diet Coke.
Okay.
Okay, and I brought it home and put it in the fridge, some of it, and put the rest away. And my daughter has a friend over, right? And anyways, I I was just kind of not feeling great. So it was about 9 o'clock. So I went to bed. Well, I woke up in the morning and I almost had a coronary. And I thought, oh my God, I'm like my dad here, because there must have been 5 or 6 half full cans of pop.
Oh man.
Remember when you were a kid?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you didn't drink it all, you got one pop a day. And if you
Right.
didn't drink it all, you'd get that swat or whatever,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah.
And I come down and there was like, and they were all over the place. I'm like, first of all, I felt the blood pressure first, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm
But
like, everyone I grabbed was like, one was even full. And I'm
yeah.
like, no way. Like, do they know a case of 12 is 4.99 now?
Right.
Like, what the hell? Anyways,
No.
my daughter comes down and it kind of calmed down, and I emptied the cans and I put them in the recycling, and I'm like, you know, this is going into like a Sunday. And so the girls come down. I said, girls, first of all, we gotta have a talk.
Yeah.
You know, before I make you breakfast, we gotta have a
Yeah.
chat. So I said, like, girls, I come down to 6 half cans of pop. I said, back in the day, if I did that, or my family did it, first of all, we were allowed one pop per day.
Right. Yeah.
So, so a case would last my parents a week and a bit before they bought another case. And if you drank them too fast, they would hold off a couple weeks, so that we're like begging them for pop, right? And and uh and I must say, like, that old Kool-Aid Freshie was big in life. Tang, you know. Anyway,
Okay. Yeah.
so so I'm telling them about this, and trying to make them realize that, opening you know a can of pop and not drinking the whole thing and taking a couple sips, is not a cool thing to do. It's waste, you know?
Yeah.
And the problem with the kids today is we might be a little bit laxy with them in life. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah. Fair.
I
Fair.
I would say out of the kids that work for me and that have worked for me over 30 years, um, they're slowly getting worse. And and when they do come to me, that's when I have to, be a little bit firm with them,
Sure.
sometimes they don't take it well, and that's
That's when they decide working is not for them, right?
yeah, exactly. And that's and that's it's not a good place to be in. And I was just talking about this yesterday. Like the companies all try to budget labor for a store like me, but
Right.
they don't understand the quality of help is degrading.
Okay.
Like it
You
used
don't
to
get as
be.
much. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you don't get as much bang for the buck, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and and that drive and ambition and all that. I have a guy, I tell you, he's 27 years old, and he's like, you know, do you want extra hours this week? No, 30's good. Back when I was working, I'd be like,
Yeah.
go home, get a couple hours sleep, and go in and work night crew.
Right.
I,
Yeah. I've
I
done that. Been there.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you want me to work? When, where, how long can I work more? Like
Yeah.
I was not full of piss and vinegar, but I had dedication and I had, uh, you know, um, I was loyal. I was a
Yeah.
holy man. I remember, when I was younger, I'd go partying with the boys at 19 years old and basically go home and sleep a couple half an
And
hour
then
or an hour and
right.
and
Work a
then
whole
go into
day.
work,
Yeah. 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 I remember
and
those
the
days.
reek of booze
Oh,
but now, nah. Well, people, you know what? I've noticed that a lot of kids don't drink anymore. Like they just
true.
like it's weird how we went from the party guys to the now it's like nah, I'm good. I don't. Yeah, I don't.
I don't need to work.
I
Yeah.
like the not. You don't hear them and go to the like even my
Yeah.
staff. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing this weekend? I ask a lot of them because I like to get
Sure.
um create that friendly environment. So
Yeah.
and that's probably why I'm
Make a small
successful
talk.
because I
Yeah.
know a little bit about everybody and no, Todd, I'm just gonna relax. I'm like, huh? When
I
that
know,
was
right?
me on Easter weekend, holy!
I know, right? Those, work hard, play hard.
And you know what? The kids are smarter. I'll give the kids this. Kids are a little bit smarter in investing too, as well. Like
Okay.
Bitcoin and like I don't know zero about Bitcoin,
Right.
but the kids today are a little bit smarter in they want Lamborghinis, but they don't want to work hard for the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
They want to just ease into the Lamborghini through Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. 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 I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tell you what, let me ask you a couple questions about being a franchisee.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any control over the prices in your store?
No,
Like yourself? No. So that all comes from
I have
head
control
office?
over bringing it down. So if I'm hung with something,
Yeah.
like they send me too much, and
Okay.
it's coming up on
You got to
date,
clear it out.
yeah, I can't go up. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you have any control over what you sell in your store? Like, can you decide to add certain products or
To a degree.
to a
Like
degree? Yeah.
sometimes they allow local stuff like corn,
Okay.
stuff, but it has to all go through. What people don't understand is everything on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's like real estate. It's like buying a house.
Yeah.
So
Right. Right.
these companies come in and they buy certain even levels on the shelf. Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah. I've
level
heard
to
that.
the bottom level is totally different in price. And then
Right.
there's listing fees too. That that's what people don't understand either. Like in order to get a product into Freshco,
Yeah.
just to list it in their database is costly. And
Really?
then if you
Okay.
want it on the shelf, you pay even more. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Now, is that when you're talking about like when it's chain wide kind of thing? Like
So
if
what
someone's
they
just selling corn to you like a local farmer, I assume that'd be a little different.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
yeah.
but what they want to try to do here is, you walk into a store here, or you walk into a store in London, Ontario, it's pretty well close to the same,
Like price
Um,
or like the experience?
just where things are, what we carry.
Okay.
People know they can get oil and vinegar dressing at my store, but they can also go get it at in London, Ontario at a Fresco. The
Now, I
other
assume
thing
I
is
assume some things will be, like based on the demand in your store, you might carry different things. Is that, for
100%.
your
If
yeah,
it
okay.
doesn't sell, they boot it out, and then they
Right.
relist something that does sell, right? Because
Okay.
being 32,000 square feet, you gotta have things that turn over because
Right.
you don't make money till it sells. So
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you're losing money if it's sitting there, right?
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, here's the other issue: is you're 32,000 square feet, but all these companies love innovation,
Okay.
so they all love coming out with new stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
the
the
new
thing
products, right?
is, we're not expanding the store.
Right.
So when they bring new stuff out, something's got to go.
Right. Right.
And that sometimes when you piss people off
Sure.
because,
Sure.
I used to get oil and vinegar dressing here, and now there's, Thai tea dressing,
Right.
or whatever. And that's when they
Something.
get
Yeah.
honey Dijon,
Yeah.
and so people don't understand it's a money game. It's
Sure.
all about money
Yeah.
and you know uh
You got to get the most out of each square foot, right?
100%. Like you gotta turn the square footage, and like my average basket is $40 a basket. So every time a customer comes in, my average basket's $40. They're spending $40.
Yeah.
So um, that is what these companies look at. So
Okay.
there's what are we going to make to list it? What are we going to make to put it on the shelf? What are we going to make to sell it? What price are we going to put it at? And is it going to sell?
Now, so
So
is it nice to have, as a franchisee, is it nice to have someone else do all that thinking and crunching the numbers for you?
yes and no.
Yes and no.
And
Okay.
it's nice to have them figuring some of that stuff out, but
Yeah.
it's also nice to listen to your customers
Right.
too
Yeah.
and what they want. Like, in the summer they love their local stuff, but
Right.
the company hates the local stuff because they've already purchased stuff from the Niagara region
Right.
or
Right. Right.
something like that.
You have some kind
And
of commitment already, right? Like
there's
you're.
a
Yeah.
commitment. They buy fields and fields of corn, right? They already say, well, we're gonna buy 500 acres of corn from you, and they already commit and pay and everything, right? So, um, that is how that works. And then if you, so we always have a disagreement, the company and I, because local to me is Fallowfield Road
Right.
farmer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
His corn. Local to them is Niagara, shipped to
Right.
the warehouse, shipped to my store 3 days later,
Yeah.
Well, that's not local to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's an argument we have constantly,
Sure.
but and my biggest, I love supporting local farmers, right?
Right.
Like, I do get a lot in, and yeah, I can cut checks for it and this and that, but yeah, it's a game of give and take, but
Yeah.
most of the
Yeah.
stuff is already committed to on the
Right.
shelves.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Interesting. Interesting. Thank you for the insight. That's awesome. And now I know you're probably not going to toot your own horn, but I'm going to do it for you. You also like to give back to the community, right? With like at Thanksgiving, specifically. How many turkeys did you give away this year?
So I'm gonna go back there, and you're right. I don't like doing it too much. I don't do it for the
No, no.
the
Yeah.
fame or whatever. But
Yeah.
I do have a soft heart for homeless, and especially kids that are hungry. Families. It's not the kids' fault. Parents are messed up or, mm,
The
into drugs
situation.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
situation is not the kid's fault.
Yeah.
But a kid shouldn't go hungry. So 6 years ago, I started with the mission and the local food bank in Dell's Corners, but I started raising money for the mission uh, 6 years ago, and I started with I think it was 26 turkeys I raised enough funds, and by funds I mean like I give the product at cost, but I also give another 20 turkeys on the house, right?
Okay.
So I took I think it was 27 my first time down on Thanksgiving and Christmas, both
Nice.
times, and we fed 2,600 people my first
Wow.
time. Well, I've been doing it every year, and every year it seems to get more and more. Well, this past Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
um, I took 87 turkeys down
Wow.
with all the fixings. So a skid of potatoes, a skid of carrots.
Jeez.
Um, so I must thank Wendy Bell. She's a real estate agent in Canada.
Yeah.
She raised a lot of money. So
Okay.
she raised the total bill was probably about $6,000 in food,
Wow. 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 Wow.
and
That's
and
huge.
they fed, get this, they fed 16,800 people.
Holy smokes. That's a
Oh, went
lot of
from
people.
2,500 6 years ago to
To 17,000.
16,800.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And
Wow.
and I do so Wendy helped me out. I need this help. I need it because there's
Sure.
no way I could front up $5,000,
That's a big bill.
and and that's at cost.
Yeah.
So so you know it cost me. So I delivered it and all that stuff down, and it cost me 20. I kicked in $2,500
Yeah.
and gave it to them at cost. So everybody ate at turkey dinner kind of on me and Wendy Bell, and but I tell you, there's no better feeling than going down there and dropping that all off and
Right.
driving away going, you know what? you know, one day somebody's gonna eat a meal on me, and I fed all of downtown Ottawa, for
That's
one
awesome.
day.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Those are
and
big
then and
numbers.
then I do food bank bags out of my store too,
Okay.
and we do about 8,500 food bank bags. So
Wow.
in the bag, there's a $5 and $10 bag.
Okay.
I put in at cost. So I take my cost and I put all in at cost, $10 worth of food, whatever they need. They give us a list.
Yeah.
So either macaroni or this or whatever
Yeah. Yeah.
they need, soup or whatever. They give us a list every week of must needed items. And then we put them in a bag, and people can buy these bags at the caches.
Yeah.
And so in 6 years, um, 8,000. So when I started, I was only doing 1,000 bags a year,
Okay.
and last year I hit over 10,000
Oh,
bags,
jeez.
and that goes to
Wow.
the local Bell's Corners Food Bank. So, um, and I also help out Canada Food Bank, giving them deals.
Nice.
Constant Spay. I do a lot with the schools, community programs within the schools, breakfast programs for kids. I do a lot of that as well. Um, but the one that I'm most proud of is the first year I took over the store. A young fella in Bell's Corners was ran over by a car. And
Oh,
this was a lawyer who was drunk. And
wow.
it was a disheartening because they shot my store and this kid would come into my store and I didn't know the kid, but I knew him seeing.
Right.
And so he was killed in Bell's Corners and uh, the family was not in a good position. They were in a co-op housing and they lost a kid. So they had 3 kids. And when I heard about it, I I sprung into action, and I had a weekend long charity event. So first of all, I had all the businesses give me what they could afford in gift cards.
Wow.
And then I auctioned off over a weekend gift cards. I had my own draw for a $200 gift card. And we went and presented them a check to pay for the funeral
Wow.
through
Wow.
my
That's
store.
wow. Good work. Good on you.
Yeah, so the funeral cost was funerals, it was $9,600.
Wow.
I raised $10,000 in a weekend, and it was awesome because it wasn't just the raising of the money, it was the community that come together for this. And you talk
Sure.
about social media being bad. Social media was the reason why we got 10 grand. It was like it just blew up.
Nice.
And people were
Nice.
coming, they were lined up to give money. One roofer from Bell's Corner, or plumber from Bell's Corners, dropped off $1,000.
Wow.
Like it was just wild. And he didn't even want a ticket for the draw.
He was
But
just dropping off the check.
they were
Wow.
lined up at the table and they were buying like, you know, 100 tickets, throwing $100 down. It was basically a bucket ticket, right? One of those bar tickets that you'd
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
with the numbers on it,
Yeah.
right? And then you put your name in. We drew a name for each card. And I tell you, I've never raised so many funds so fast. And to present that check at their house and see them bawl,
Yeah.
like,
Wow.
because they didn't know how they were going to bury their son.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's a tough
so
time
these
for
are
a lot
all
of
the
kids.
stories that I've done in the behind the scenes through
Yeah.
my store. But I don't chalk it up, Nick, as, yeah, it's good. I get it. But I chalk it up as, you know what, I'm the face of a community,
Sure.
and somebody's got to, steer the horns, or do the right thing, and I just feel I'm that person, and
Nice.
that's why I did join the BIA, and I do a lot of stuff. I backed off that now because you know what, I I want my time back a bit, and
Sure. Sure.
I did my co-op time, I want a trophy now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, uh it's fulfilling,
Nice.
knowing you do that good stuff and to help people, and hopefully they save me a good chair upstairs when I go there because of what I've done. But yeah, you're right. It's uh, that that funeral thing plus my last delivery of Thanksgiving food down to the mission
Yeah.
and hearing, basically 17,000 people, that just goes to show you what kind of times we're in, or,
Yeah. That's big numbers for sure. Yeah.
eh,
Yeah.
and they're great people down there at the mission, like Chef Rick. But these are all guys. The only issue is, when you do so much good,
Yeah.
people come to you then.
Right. Yeah. It's,
Like
yes. Yes. That's
I
why the
get
numbers
more
grow, right?
like I Richmond Public School. And I don't mind helping. It's just people don't understand. Like, I do have budgets, right? Like I
Sure.
do have,
Sure.
I still have to make money, and I still have to, but my biggest thing, what I tell people from an owner's perspective is, listen, guys, you support me, and I will give back
Yeah.
to
Right.
the
Fair.
community,
Fair.
right?
That's
Because
fair.
that's how it works. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And what pisses me off is the bigger guys, the yellow guys and the red guys, in the grocery world. Like,
Yeah.
they don't give nothing, and they're billionaires.
Right.
So so it, when I see these little signs, support your local, like, that really hits home to me, like, because it's the little guy that is sponsoring the Timbits team. It's the little guy that's, putting a name on the back of an NHL or a hockey jersey, in Adam. It's guys like me that, you know, schools have their breakfast programs, and they have, people don't see it that way, and that bugs me because, um, they got to start opening their eyes to, who butters their bread, like, who
Yeah.
looks after their kids. Because I
Yeah.
do a lot of
Exactly.
it, and I do, Bell's Corners Public School. I'm sending 300, or sorry, 900 mini cupcakes next month to Richmond Public School for their open house. And I'm giving them.
Wow.
I'm not charging them. I'm
Wow. Wow.
giving them, right? So that they can. So what they do is they charge parents like $1 per cupcake, and
Yeah.
they
So
make
they're fundraising. Yeah.
they're fundraising for their schools. I
Yeah.
don't have to do it. I don't. But what I'm saying is, there's guys like me out there that, you know, that are behind the scenes doing stuff
Comes
to,
from somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and like I told this Amanda girl from Richmond Public School, I said, what about the local red store there in Richmond,
Right.
like, why, I'm
A little further
50
away,
minutes
but
away,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, Todd, you're so supportive in everything you do. And you've supported the Richmond Fair. You've supported the public school all the time. And I got your name through another counselor from Bell's Corners Public School. And I'm hoping that you could help us. Like, how can I say no?
Right. It's tough. Yeah.
You
It's tough to
know?
say, you don't want to say no, but it's tough to say yes all the time too, right? Like you said.
Well, yeah,
So
like, as much as I'd like to, help everybody, I'm not a tooth fairy either, but,
exactly.
and I get that, and I can do it if, I just try to give, like, they don't understand that there's so many clubs out there looking for some sort of help, right?
Yeah.
Like, the
Yeah.
Rotary Club's always doing something. The Lions Club's always doing something.
Yeah.
Another one that I did that I'm really proud of too is, the Legion in Bell's Corners on Remembrance Day every
Mhm.
year throw a big party down in their basement, and they usually have anywhere from 150 to 200 ex-army old boys there,
Okay.
veterans, and I supply all the food for the catering company to come in.
Nice.
And yeah, so the last two Remembrance Days, um, I gave what did they have? Chicken, I think. Yeah, chicken the last time,
Yeah.
and they did the chicken breast with asparagus and whatever. And they brought a chef in, and he cooked it right there because they have a little kitchen.
Yeah.
And but I supplied all the food. They come over and got all the bread, all the buns, all the butter, all the everything they needed. I gave it to them, and they
Okay.
asked how much, and don't worry about it. It's on me.
Uh,
So you know what? These are things that I love doing
no, tell
because it's all about, and that is what a franchisee to me is.
me. Okay.
So
Be part of the community.
this is what I like about my role and and my connection to the people around Bell's Corners, whether you're rich or poor. Um, you're a person to me, and that's probably the most important thing that a person can do. And a lot of people love me, and that's why I think I'm, you know, doing the the dollars I'm doing and
Yeah.
and being successful, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Todd, it's probably a good place to cut it off. I'm
Yep,
gonna thank you for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time out to speak to me. I know you're a really
yep,
busy guy, certainly with all the stuff you're just telling me about the day-to-day stuff, and on top of that, all the giving back to the community. And then we look forward to your little festival in the summer coming up.
yep,
That'll be a lot of fun. Anyway,
yep.
so thank you very much, Todd. And I appreciate you being on the podcast, and we'll touch base soon.
Okay, Nick, thanks.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Shop Freshco.